Yep, we can start now.
Okay. So, Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome you back to on the Bhagavad Gita classes on which we are discussing Gita chapter by chapter. Today we are going to briefly go through the chapter 6, which is Dhyana Yoga, or meditation yoga, or Ashtanga yoga, in a sense, six-step yoga. And it is very important to understand this type of yoga as well. Krishna actually in this up until now is explaining to Arjuna the different types of yogas that lead to the living entity into consciousness of the Supreme Spirit or spiritual realization. And Dhyana Yoga is one of them. If we, in previous chapters, he talked about karma, which is activities. He first mentioned in the second chapter that the living entity is the combination of a soul and material elements, and that talked briefly about what difference is between the soul and the nature of the soul, and how this nature can be restored. And then he described the path through which the soul can get self-realization. And so this path starts from understanding karma, the laws of this creation, and then acting according to those laws. So karma is generated usually in ignorance. But when karma gets connected with knowledge, then it becomes karma yoga. Then a person is starting to live a pious life that leads to spiritual development, but through karmic activities. Then Krishna also talked about jnana yoga, and jnana yoga is when all this karmic when a person is elevated to a higher level of intelligence and goes through, is trying to understand the Supreme Soul through intellectual capacities. However, there is also another type of yoga, which is Dhyana yoga, this meditative yoga, about which we will be talking today. So let's get started. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this chapter is started by Krishna talking to Arjuna and telling him that the person who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works out of obligation to fulfill his duty is considered to be renounced order of life. And thus he can be considered also the true mystic. And not but this renunciation in which of which he is talking here, Krishna, should also be known as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. Prabhupada can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire of sense gratification. So it is, again, Krishna emphasizes here that renouncing the desire for sense gratification is very important in the process of spiritual development. Otherwise, it is not possible to link oneself to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the process of renunciation, it is very important to control your mind, because actually, and as he says, this renunciation in text number 5, Krishna says, one must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. So mind plays a very important role in a person's functioning, actually, because mind is linked to the senses, and the senses are very strong. They can drive the person into different directions, because without senses, we would not be able to live in this world. They help us in functioning, but the mind is the one who is actually driving the senses into different directions. The mind is the one who decides what senses to satisfy. And this is also very important. Thus, the mind, it is very important to start controlling your mind, because mind is a very powerful tool. We should regard it as a tool, actually. And this powerful tool can be our closest friend, or can become our worst enemy as a soul in our spiritual development process. If we do not control the mind makes its own decisions, or in a sense, the mind starts to control us, because it is so powerful that it can even, rule over our intelligence, which is our willpower. Yeah. So the yoga process is also impossible if you do not master your mind, if you do not conquer the mind, and the conquered mind becomes your friend. So further, Krishna says, so for the one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached. So you see how it is important to master your mind, because as soon as you achieve that, it means that you have already achieved certain level of perfection, and you achieved the contact with the super soul. And thus you have attained tranquility. And if you got into that stage, you already have no, for you, the happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor become all the same. But that's also a certain stage. There is a stage which is even beyond that. That stage is already a stage of self-realization, because if you understand that you are soul, then this material happiness and distress and all that polarity of this material world loses the importance in your understanding. It loses the illusion. You are actually getting rid of that illusion. But a self-established and self-realized person who is a yogi actually is fully satisfied, and because he has acquired this knowledge and realization. And he is thus situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. And for such a person, self-controlled person, the values of this material world become insignificant. He refers to pebbles, stone, and the gold as the same. For instance, Prabhupada possessed such an elevated consciousness. From his the memories of his disciples, I can recall one episode when Prabhupada in India, he was sitting in his room, and he would usually receive a lot of visitors. People came to see him, to thank him for his lectures and kirtans, and would bring some gifts to him. And one of his disciple recalls that one day a person came to Prabhupada and gave him a watch as a present, like as an expression of his gratitude. So Prabhupada takes off his watch and hands this watch to that person, and takes his gifts and puts it on his hand. Then comes another person who also by accident brings the watch as a present to Prabhupada, but that's is already a very expensive watch. I forgot the name of the mark, but quite an expensive one. So Prabhupada, because he saw that it's done out of love, out of appreciation, he also made this exchange. He took this watch, the present, and gave the watch he was wearing back to that person. So that was an exchange. And then comes another person who brings the cheap watch as a present to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada, without any second thought, takes off this Rolex, I remember, this Rolex watch off his hand, and gives it to the visitor in an exchange to his gift. So this clearly shows that Prabhupada did not distinguish between this kind of material values. He was above this type of thinking. And further, Krishna describes that the person is said to be established in self-realization, and it calls a yogi when he is fully satisfied by the virtue of acquired knowledge. Or I just we just read that. Then the person, such elevated person, or even more elevated person, is the one who starts to regard the well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the enviers, friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. So this shows that the person is elevated above the bodily concept, and he regards everybody. He sees that the super soul, that Krishna is present in every living entity. Thus, for him, Krishna's presence it means that all these people, irrespective of their material outlooks, are the same. transcendentalist, such a person who is called transcendentalist, he always engages his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. And this means that a person who has reached this level, he always is thinking about Krishna, and and he acts, his body is engaged in activities that is linked to service to Krishna, and that's how his relationship is strengthened. Further, he describes that he describes these different stages of your yogic perfections, actually. When a person reaches such a state of renunciation that he can already, detach himself from material existence, material world, he further to practice yoga should go into a secluded area, sit on the kusha grass, and then cover it with deer skin and soft cloths, and should have it should be properly placed, and then he should very firmly uh, uh, dedicate himself to this practice of yoga to purify his heart, and this purification takes place through the controlling of his minds and senses. And he also talks that this kind of practice requires specific, position of the body and neck, and how that your mind should be pacified. You should steadily stare on the tip of your nose and start meditation. Actually, meditation is impossible without such a state of mind. If your mind is not stable, if you are not capable of focusing on one thing, you won't be able to get into a meditation. And that also is very much linked to what habits we um, develop in ourselves. For instance, if that's why it is necessary to, follow certain rules and restrictions. If we are not able to refrain, for instance, if for yogic practices, it is very bad to for instance, use drugs or even intoxication, like cigarettes as well. If you cannot quit doing that, then you won't be able to meditate, because this habit will take over and will bring you out of the meditation. When this smoking desire to smoke enters your mind, you won't be able to focus on your object. But the object of your meditation should be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, Krishna says, by that practicing the constant control of the body, mind, and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, whose mind is regulated, attains the kingdom of the God. So it's that easy. If you achieve that state, then it means that you have already reached the kingdom of the God, or the abode of Krishna. But that will happen only when you stop your material existence. For yogi, it is, as we mentioned, to be able to control his mind, it is very important to control his habits, how much he eats. It is impossible to become a yogi if you eat too much or eat too little, sleep too much, or do not sleep enough. So these habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, work, uh, 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 if you regulate these habits, then you can mitigate all material pains already by practicing the yogic system. So thus you can become situated in transcendence and get devoid of material desires, and then you can be considered as well established in yoga or stable in yoga. But however, this this yogic path, is rather difficult. It requires to getting into a secluded area, to dedicating too much, quite a lot of time, and it can be reached, the perfection through this process can be reached step by step, step by step is sorry. And you should be very stable in this position, and this is rather difficult to be achieved even during those times when Krishna and Arjuna were having this interaction. What to say about current state of affairs in the in this material world? Yeah, but it is even difficult to find such a secluded place nowadays. So this type of yoga is becoming very difficult, because it goes through, until you get to the purification of your heart. This is already a fifth step. It goes through 8 steps. First, you have to, accept all these rules and regulations. Then you have to learn appropriate asanas, positions. Then you have to learn to control your breathing, because otherwise you won't be able to control the air that goes, or prana that goes. You should be able to control the prana, to take the prana from through the chakras and reach the highest chakra. And it's a very complicated and difficult process, and it requires um, certain conditions, which is not that easy to follow nowadays. And even Arjuna mentions that further in while talking to Krishna, that this way of becoming a yogi and self-controlled is not very practical for him at that point of time, because he needed an immediate results. He needed to do his duties in a proper way, not to commit any sins. And this yogic way seemed to take quite long. He was deprived of such time. And hence, he also poses certain questions to Krishna about a person. For instance, if a yogi has not achieved perfection through this lifetime, going through this process, what would happen to him? How? What will his fate be? To which Krishna further assures Arjuna that such a perfect yogi he will get another birth, but um, uh, just a second. So he says that these unsuccessful transcendentalists um, who has taken this process of self-realization will no doubt um, well he will get another birth in a more auspicious environment. And here I think it would be appropriate to say that actually doing this yoga, it does not mean that you are getting detached from, material activities, just that. It means that you are engaged in the process of self-realization that means that you are working on your qualities, trying to, cleanse your heart to the position when you are getting, reviving godly qualities in yourself. And of course, this can not be achieved through a single lifetime. And Krishna assures him that if you have embarked on this path, ensures Arjuna that of course you will, depending on your qualities, you will get another life, but in a better environment. First, you will have you will have to leave your pious karma, the credits, in so let me read from this text that a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with this destruction, either in this world or in the spiritual world, or one who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. Unsuccessful yogi, after many of years of enjoyment, he will unsuccessful yogi will get the birth in on the higher planets where he will be enjoying the pious living activities. After that, he will get born in a family of a religious people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Hence, he will not have to, think about how to support his life and getting birth in a religious family means that he will, from the birth already, have um, consciousness, God-oriented consciousness, and the family will help him in that to continue his uh, spiritual development in such a way, and but however, this kind of birth is rare, Krishna says, and um, on taking such a birth, a person is reviving his divine consciousness in that he has accumulated in his previous life, and then tries to make further progress to in order to achieve the complete success or complete Krishna consciousness. He automatically becomes attracted to yogic principles. He does not have to seek for them, and he is always about the such a transcendentalist even becomes about the ritualistic principles, and he engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress by washing all of his commitments, then achieving perfection. After many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. And the supreme goal is actually attaining the consciousness of um, Krishna consciousness, attaining the abode of the God, attaining his qualities, and attaining his kingdom. But that does not mean that one is becoming one with the God. This is a very dangerous attitude. If one starts thinking this way, then he is facing the threat of because that's aparatha. The living entities, the souls can never become God. They are parts and parcel of God. They are similar to him or equal to him in qualitatively have these, they can have the similar qualities, but they can never become completely independent as Krishna is. The living entities will always be dependent on him. So that is a very dangerous way of thinking, which we should avoid. So so the Krishna says that this is a very elevated level of yogi who attains the supreme goal. However, there is a greater yogi who greater than ascetic or greater than empiricist or the fruity worker. And such a yogi is the top level in a sense. So, and Krishna calls Arjuna to become such a yogi in all circumstances, because such a yogi is always with great faith abides in Krishna, thinks of Krishna within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to Krishna. This is why he is the most intimately united with Krishna in yoga. And this is the highest of all yogis, and that is Krishna's personal opinion. So here Krishna in this verse, he actually says that the best way, the best yoga is the devotional service, yoga of devotional service to Krishna, because if other yogic processes are quite stiff and requires a lot of endeavor and kind of struggle with your desires and curtailing your desires. The bhakti yoga, yoga of Krishna consciousness, is based on taste. If you get a better taste, and it contains all the other yogas that he described, but it's easier to follow because if you get a higher taste, you can easily renounce all the bad things, the other tastes, yeah, and you are getting this highest taste through service and through association with the persons who have already achieved this higher level, who already are Krishna conscious, who already possess all these divine qualities to which we should be aspiring. However, this is very briefly the content of this chapter. This divine consciousness will be described in the further chapter, and we can stop our meeting now discussing of this chapter. And if you have any questions, you are most welcome to post them here now.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Matlova Kalindi Mataji.
As I see, there are not no questions. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Very nice to see you here. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I've talked very briefly about this topic of Jnana Yoga, hoping that you would pose some questions to, further open it up. But if it's understandable and if you think that this is all, then we can stop it here.
In YouTube, in Facebook, also no comments.
No comments on YouTube as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So
not on YouTube, but Facebook. I mean,
Facebook, yeah. Okay. Then thank you very much for allowing me to serve you today. I hope that I gave you some useful information. And see you next time. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna.
Kalindi Mataji, and we will let you know, let everyone know when will be next our meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hare
Keep in
Krishna.
touch. Hare Krishna.